even though they've all said, no, it's all aboard, it's nothing like INRA, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's just too suspicious about it. It's a good conspiracy theory, though. But it does sometimes get in the way of, guys, we need some support to deal with this. No, you work for ages. We don't want to know you.
As
Don't
to
give
the
you,
question
don't
of
give a,
will there be more, I guess we'll find out on Thursday, but there were no new stations attacked last week, was there?
Yes, there were.
Passenger
there
missions.
Was a break over Christmas.
The cream of elite.
Yeah, so the nice Thyroids gave us Christmas off.
Yes.
So I'm sitting here,
Either that or someone
enjoying a whiskey.
There press the
You can
button
see it in the dark. I'm running passenger missions, 400 and 500 and
But
something
attacking
light seconds.
something is not the same as occupying something, because I would argue that the Thyroids haven't actually occupied any human space. They have just only attacked it.
Which is
yeah,
very,
well,
very
at
interesting.
the moment,
Or it's going to gain me some
are
money because.
missing out
Sorry, I'm not
on
speaking
some
to my
fantastic
microphone.
gameplay because they don't
I just
agree
upgraded
with
my
what
ship with
Aegis
about,
is doing.
I think about
That's what
300
I've seen a lot of
million
people on the
credits
forums
of
say, is that I don't want to get
dates,
involved in that because of Aegis.
upgrades. So
Well,
now I'm
from
going
a
to have to
humanitarian
run
point of view, there's nothing
12,
wrong
5,
with preparing the
5,
station.
10
You're not actually
passenger
aiding
missions to make up
Aegis.
for it, but each of them
You're
take about 20
allowing
minutes.
people who
So
are evacuated the chance to go home, aren't you?
Well, but people will then turn around and say, but it's an Aegis station, there's
just
all
listening
Aegis
to
personnel,
Lave
blah, blah, blah.
radio
I'm
at
only
the
playing
same
devil's
time.
advocate here. I'm probably one of the
I
few
must
people
admit,
that are...
I've been sitting on that bridge, and the way I've been dealing with it is I'll rescue the people, but screw the stations.
See, they are prime example. Because you don't trust what Aegis is doing.
That, and there's no CG, there's no decent payout for it, and I can't be bothered to trek all of that way just to bring them down water.
So really kind of here. I know you can't
yeah,
see me. I am
guys,
here.
That's what they want.
But
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is, I think we can all
I'll
agree
take some
is that
questions in the
one of
live
reasons
chat
why
if
people
anybody's
aren't shipping
interested.
stuff down is that it's just not, the profits aren't worth it. Especially when there are other more lucrative routes that have been highlighted lately.
If I can find the live chat.
Said, I think it's this week,
Let's have a look.
that if we don't repair the stations, they are not going to fix the stations for us. So basically, they'll stay broken until we fix them.
Yeah.
So they're not going to disappear completely.
Well, we don't know at the moment. They haven't confirmed that one way or the other.
Somebody trying to sell my passengers
They
as slaves. I don't do
Fair
that.
enough. Well, they did that damage forever.
Can't we just go and shoot them?
I must admit, when I've actually
Well,
gone
Cargo's
into
already
these,
did that, and they haven't succeeded yet. They're still there, so...
when I've gone in and on a repair run, it's actually quite nice because you can see whether they're repairing it all and getting rid of all the caustic damage and things like that. It's quite nice, but as someone's already asked us, I mean, once you've done a couple of repair runs or you've gone and evacuated people once, what is there to motivate you to do it again? Apart from obviously you don't want NPCs to die on you.
Can we?
Mind you, I'm talking to the wrong person here, aren't I, Shane?
Well, to be fair, I am thinking about going and doing some of the rescues again, but I don't fancy trading out there.
I was just thinking, do you think another factor in it is that we just have this streak of anarchists about us, and we just want to see Aegis burn, so we're not going to help. We just want to see what happens if no one does anything.
Well, maybe I'm not anarchist enough then. Am I the only one that
because
seems
you're
to...
saying why fix the stations on the Twitch chat.
Yeah, we'll just see what people think. People saying they should make it so you get your faction rep. Yep. Aegis, are
But
they?
then you get a faction rep by rescuing people. So
Yeah, are they Aegis? Are they? What kind of faction do they come under? Or are they just above that all? Are they their own? They're not
Okay.
federal,
Yeah, I mean,
not imperial. They're just independent.
there are people in the Imperial
about those few days.
Well, when we were talking when Thargoids first came out, and the first one was taken down, and they saw the extent of the reward, we were talking about, well, what rewards should they have done for Thargoids other than credits? And it was suggested that if you could rank up with Aegis in the same way as you do with the Federation or Empire, that would then give people motivation to do Aegis missions.
Actually getting annoying because it's actually a problem. It's getting annoying because it's happening every 5 minutes.
Like you have
Never done it before. So we're off to
Gotcha.
Sevastanyov Station.
But
So
then
then
would you
what
have
with
to
its
do the same with INRA?
Kind of rank. No, because
It's
it was
about
not
3 minutes, so
exist
it's generally a
anymore.
15-minute trip for about at the moment because I'm not repped up. I lost a lot of my reps, so I lost it. So I'm around 36 million now, which is the cordial
I've got to be very careful
rep.
whether you
Lower than
want to
that,
rank
you'll get
within an
missions around
organisation.
15 million in value.
Me with my mean
Cordial will be 36, and then friendly is going to bump you up
Yeah,
into the
that is
50s.
certainly a possibility, and we
And
do
obviously the
wonder whether or
50s
not
is what you
they're
want
going to do that kind of
if you
thing
rep yourself up
with,
well enough. This is
with
one of
achievements.
Can you imagine
the
salt
routes
that
that I've
people would
posted
rank
in
up
my
like something?
50 million
I think it would be
credits
great.
every half
But then
hour,
again, I
which
probably in a grumpy mood with some of the
is
community at the
completely
moment, so-
doable. Some people have said that when they arrived they weren't repped, and I've been trying to think about the background simulation that goes on in Elite, and I'm just wondering if it's not actually repped to the faction rather than repped in trading, because passenger missions
Yeah,
count
but
as
if you-
trading.
if you've got to take out a Medusa in order to get
Whether
those
it's
things,
kind of turning
to
you
get
down
those
because you
weapons,
haven't
can't
got
take out
high
a Medusa
enough.
until you got those weapons.
Because I'm elite
Yeah,
in
you can
trading,
do
so
stuff.
I mean everywhere I go, I've
We
got
had a
that
whole
elite
system worked out
status.
how
So
we would do it, and
I don't know. There's
basically
something
you
about
have,
it feels a little bit off.
Similar point system to how the elite
And,
combat rank works. So let's say if you kill,
I don't know. I've been trying to work it out in my head all day because these types of little things just drive me crazy when I'm having to think about why one thing happens or doesn't happen.
and don't die, you get half of one, or whatever it is. So you could use your rank like
Got
that.
80,000 light seconds, which at this speed is probably going to take us
The risk is greater.
about 5
and the
minutes,
effort is
3
greater.
to 5 minutes.
It just seems to be better than just showering, well, dribbling credits on people.
Yeah, well, I think this is one of these things that it's obviously going to have to wait for the next major update and see how they implement it. But, I mean, they've been away on a holiday. Any of the suggestions that people have been making in the deep discussion threads, well, I think Sandro and company will all be catching up at the moment before they start responding to things. I mean, Ed's only just back from far off Shibuya, so or Japan, really. So yeah, it'll be a while before we start getting some answers about what we need.
Yeah, we're about 50,000 light seconds out now.
Engineers, although part of me suspects.
Don't get excited because it says 1:35, but we've got longer.
And then got away and
So we're gonna just
Troy thought a lot
spin
of it.
the
Well, that's my hope.
ship around so that
Not
we're
happy with
coming
what's
above the
proposed
planet,
there,
because I don't want to come below it or in the centre, because I want to have a nice clear run to the station. If you don't have a clear run to the station, what happens is generally the planet slows you down. When the planet slows you down, it really does slow you down. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it takes you maybe a minute extra to drop out. So I try and come in above, really high angle,
Yeah. Well,
and then
that's a subject.
you can drop in the station at the right point. I mean, sometimes, for example, if I keep going in this course, I'm going to drop in behind the station. So it's all a bit of 6 and 2 3s. You can kind of break it at the last second and cut between the planet and the station. But you really need to,
Oh, I should have done that.
you really need to kind of get an idea of where the station is. So, for example, we can see it's on a bit of an angle now. We can pull a little bit and try and get to it. But at this point, I'm just gonna
Yeah, I must admit,
It's going
it
to
was
keep
like
on my
going back
angle.
to when it was first launched and everyone was complaining about the flight model, and I was there thinking, you know what, I just can't be bothered.
Planetary landings are a little bit better, actually.
Well, there was an issue with
The
speed
problem
keys,
with
wasn't there?
planetary
I'm not really
landings
sure
for
what
me,
it
if
was
you
ab-
get them perfectly
what it
right,
particularly was.
they're
There was an
quicker
issue
than
in
stations.
training.
They don't
You
seem it,
did
but they
the
actually
command
are.
too low
But
to
if you get them wrong,
and
they're 10
basically
times
so
as slow as
you
getting
couldn't
into
deal
a
your key,
station,
but
so
Steam then said we
there's
can't give you
kind of a
another key. There's all
trade-off.
sorts of fun and games with it, and I think that was
The
quite
trade-off
quite a lot of
is
the complaints from new players because
taking the
the
one
Steam bit didn't work
extra
properly.
minute as
Well,
opposed to the 10
yeah,
extra
I
minutes.
must admit, I did see the Steam stats. They went over the highest, well, the highest value it's been for quite a while. But then again, the Steam stats only show a partial view of how many people are online at once. So, but detractors always point to the Steam stats to say that the game is dying.
Exactly, yeah. But I thought it was quite a good price point. Was it 20 quid in total for both games?
What, the DLC as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
I must admit, do you feel that that's going to be the price point going forward? Elite Dangerous plus Horizons for £20, and
I
the
think
base
it
Elite
should
Dangerous
be.
is gone?
I think it should be because if you look at the cost of other games that are now 3 years old, there aren't many of them that still go for full price anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that one personally, but yeah.
Okay, so we can see the planets just below us because we can see the two orbital lines. We can see the kind of crest of the orbital line there. So what we're going to do is, because we know we're not near the planet, we're going to be able to just pull a little bit lower, and we're going to come in where you see that crest.
You never know, he might be moved
just in front of the ship now. See like what looks like a giant bullet or a giant penis, whichever way your mind works. We see the starships just stop a bit to the right because that's the bit that's lighting up. So we want to come in just below that.
I don't know, but I know
somewhere in between the planet
give up the,
and the station, because the station's always gonna.
Is he still I can't remember now.
It's always going to be towards the planet. Past the first orbital line. So probably just going to come just underneath it. Just underneath it. So we're going to wait till we get to about 9-8 seconds. Pull back on the stick to the middle. I'm going to slow this entry right down so that we can really come in on a good...
we have had 3 separate newsletters. Is there anything on the newsletters
decent entry?
Because I think everybody we've covered what was new in the newsletters in just the last section of the show.
One thing we didn't cover, and I think it was in the newsletters, was how many of us brought paint skins as part of the 12 Days of Christmas thing.
All right.
Coming just above it, I'm going to try and nullify it just slightly by ducking under the orbital line.
No.
Hopefully we're going to drop in before we get interdicted. There is an interdiction out for us, so it wouldn't surprise me. There we go, we're going to drop right in. There you go, there's the entrance. So we really don't have an adjustment to make. There's a really slight adjustment. I'm just going to push the ship up. But as soon as I see us get to 7.7, there we go.
Did you get Christmas lights?
Request landing.
I did not get Christmas lights. But I did get the
the throttle down, and we're getting the auto dock.
And also the ASP
Q.
with the gold old elite markings on it.
Yeah, I did fill my cart a number of times with various different skins, so I reckon I've bought Horizons for the second time twice.
So we're just looking, we've got 691 million. 691 million. So you just got to keep that in mind, 692. 692 million.
I've got all these ship skins and things like that. I've just basically bought Elite at full price all over again. Oh, damn you, Frontier, and my wallet.
I'm glad I've been broke now.
Did you happen to see the tweet that Frontier Support put out about the bug that's reported about the Christmas lights not dimming when the ship was shut down by Thargoids?
No, I didn't. I missed that.
Well, someone opened a bug report saying when my ship is shut down, the Christmas tree lights shut down, but the Christmas lights don't, and they reported it as a bug. And the
They're
response,
powered by Christmas spirit.
that's right. The reply back was, thank you for your bug report. How the Christmas lights are powered by Christmas spirit, which is immune to Thargoid interference.
Well, I must admit, the support guys do have a bit of a laugh with us sometimes. I think that's why Grant keeps on getting interdicted.
So 692. Okay, so 692.
You need
pretty
more
much.
Christmas spirit to defend yourself against Thargoids.
Yeah, you can see that. We'll stand in front of the next station that's going to get attacked, and we'll just all sit there and sing Christmas carols and swing our Christmas lights around in a defensive position and see if that does defend against Thargoids. You lying support people.
Or
You say that because I've only been hyperdicted twice, and I'm just as bar humbug as Grant is, if not more.
or just put
So-
Christmas lights
so
around the
basically-
docking ring.
So basically, Grant, what you're saying is that you want Cliff Richard to turn up and defend us with mistletoe and wine against the Thargoid attack.
You know what? If I could make it so that, that Sir Cliff was mounted on the front of a station during a Thargoid attack, I think we would all want that. I think, technically, I think that might be the only way we'll ever get rid of him.
Yeah, because knowing Cliff Richard, he'll probably be still alive in 33 or 4.
He'll still be singing at Wimbledon in the rain.
And look exactly the same.
Oh my goodness. Not that we condone strapping anybody, famous or otherwise, to the front of a space station.
Got self-control.
I can think of a few people I've strapped to the front of the space station.
Yeah, but we don't condone it.
So nice
I'm going to have to do this with the mouse because it's taking forever.
Self-control there, yeah.
Let's
Thank
go
you.
there for commodities. So,
Well, you know what? I don't know if I'd even attach them to the station. I might
to the
just throw them
passenger
out of the station.
lounge.
But no, we don't condone that kind of behaviour. We don't condone witch hunting or bandwagoning or whatever you want to call it. We do not.
Actually, I think we might have made more money than I actually thought.
Individuals apart from Thargoids.
So I think my
and
bad
possibly
mathematics
Because then you won't do it.
said
the
36,
alliance that wouldn't let us take life
but I
stations.
can see that I've definitely got more than that.
Now there's a question.
Definitely got more than that.
Just do it by the back door, guys.
I've now got 36 at this very moment, but I haven't finished
Sure.
cashing in the passenger missions.
Choose one at random.
Having said that, it's ringing standby now, so that means it's probably not going to connect.
He's an expert at inside leg, and my wife Barb's is a whiz with a sewing machine. Bespoke tarting for you and your ship. Visit Eddie and Sons, plus me daughters, at Lave Station. Right, sir. Cough, please.
I spend so much time in my Imperial Trader. I find it really hard to meet people.
I mean, when do you get the time to go to bars when you're taking on courier jobs for the military?
But with VenusDating.com, it was so simple. I just put in my personal details and they found me my perfect match.
I really thought it would be difficult, but Venus Dating made it so simple. With so much in common.
We both like movies, walking along the beach at sunset.
Browsing Imperial shipyards.
We've made
And of
way
course,
more than
since we started
36
dating,
million
we've
that I
got
thought.
so
I think actually
love.
we've probably made close towards the 50 mark. So that just goes to show you I'm not even cordial.
And seamlessly, we're
So
back.
we've got 39 plus 8,
So, I mean, as it's a brand
which
new year,
is
what I
47.
want to
So
do is
basically I
we
made
go around,
47 million on this
go around
run,
the panel tonight and see
which doesn't pay off
what
the
we're hoping for
upgrades.
in 2018.
But
Hopefully, the new
it's
year
somewhere
beyond that
somewhere
date,
thereabout.
We'll have some pleasant surprises.
No,
in store
I just
for us
want
in
to
addition
the
to
passenger
what's already
boats.
been announced, but
I'd love to see if
we'll
there was some
start
type
with,
of triangle route.
what are you really hoping for this year?
but I don't think there is.
Before you suddenly turn around and say,
Rab certainly doesn't pay.
A new car.
I mean, it's not the worst. A run seems to have a half-decent payment system, but it's a planetary landing, so it's really not probably going to pay that much.
Whatever floats your boat.
Tremon doesn't really pay it. A run, as I said, has it pays
and engineering, amongst others.
6 and 2 3s, but it's a planetary landing, and that's gonna. If you get it wrong, it's just not worth it for a little bit of money.
Please don't make us roll 1 to 5 for every module we buy. I think there's the crate, or this was due Q1, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, the crate and the chieftain are supposed to be due Q1. Now, the one thing that we've been asked a lot has been, when do we expect Q1 to drop? Now, we've got no inside information on this, but if they kind of stick to what they've done in the past, it's normally just before the end of Q1, just before Q2 starts. So you're looking late March. Probably, yeah, late March. Sorry, late February, early March. Yes. I mean that. Also, go on.
Sorry, Karen. No, I was going to say the other thing I want to see is, and they've had quarter expiration changes. So the sooner they put expiration changes in, I think the better, because I think that's a sorely underused part of the game, and we know it's coming in 2 phases. There's the Q1, then there's the Q4 part. I'm also curious to know what premium stuff they're going to be adding, because they said all the Beyond stuff is all free for Horizon only, but there's going to be extra stuff which you'll have to pay for, and I'd be curious to know what that is, because we know virtually nothing about that, what that is, or indeed how the pricing model is going to work going forward. There's a lot of people with lifetime passes, and myself included, would like to know, well, has the lifetime pass been worth the money, etc.
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends on when you got your lifetime pass, really. If you bought the lifetime pass that came with Horizons, then yeah, that is probably a concern. If you bought the lifetime pass as part of the Kickstarter, which was considerably cheaper, then I'm not quite so sure whether or not you've already had your value for money, but that's probably a controversial view.
Well, yeah, that definitely is, because in order to work that out, you'd have to work out the price of each expansion together, and we had what? Crikey. I'm trying to think. The Horizons was a paid for one, but was the 2.0
was Horizons.
What's Horizons?
And originally it was 40 quid. No, hang on. It was 30 quid if you'd already bought it. So it worked out something daft like if you bought Horizons, it was something like 70 or 80 quid, which was the equivalent of the premium beta, where you got the lifetime pass anyway. No doubt I will probably be told that I'm wrong or something like that, but I'm sure it was you had the beta access.
What other updates have there been? Planetary landings was that was Horizons.
Yeah,
what
there's
other
only
ones?
been Horizons.
Really?
Yeah. It feels like there's been a lot more, but no, if you got Horizons, that means you got multi-crew, you got engineers, you got fighters, you got the Guardians, you got the Thargoids, you got the passenger missions. The whole shebang came with just one DLC upgrade.
So 40 quid is the only additional cost to Elite?
From the 40 quid, yes.
So that does completely and utterly undercut all of the payments to lifetime payments.
For people who have bought people who bought the lifetime payment pack as when Horizons first came out, when it was available, yeah, that cost I think about 100 to 120. I can't remember what. So effectively you're 80 quid down.
Well, to be honest, I mean, it's... You can't look at it quite that way. It's not as simple as that, because what's actually happened is the money being spent on the add-on items, on the cosmetic items, is enough that it's covering the costs of their running and their updates. So they've changed the pricing model somewhat. So although it might feel that you're being done out of your cash, what's actually happened is all the other cash coming in has negated the need to charge people. So yeah, that's a tricky one to sell.
My own personal view on that is you can only tell whether the lifetime pass has been worth it or not either when they shut the game down or they announce content they are producing is no longer covered by the lifetime pass. Because if we have another 4 or 5 years worth of paid content, which is all free, the lifetime pass, then the equation goes the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the equation needs to go the other way. That's the kind of point about, you know, when you come in early on to support a game, you expect to pay a little bit more and get a little bit.
Okay, so that was a pretty good run. That was.
On, once the item, once the game
can't remember now. Started with what? 692 to 739, so it's 40.
Our godlike powers and our value for that money.
47.
Money. You've got to look at the hours you've put into the game. You've got to look at the social interactions that.
So let's have a look at another one. See if we can get one more in tonight.
Out with just being a game and understand that it's a doorway drug.
So let's take a look at this one.
It is. The way I personally think they'll do it for next year is, if you like, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. That's what they're going to call it. Will each be separately chargeable items, so they won't just go version. So
of course, every time this happens, every time you first come into dock, there's nothing there. There's one mission.
Be a nightmare for updates.
That was what I was going to say.
So I say, look, I've got 10 minutes.
So I don't think anyone really knows, to be honest.
10 minutes till we're gonna depart again.
It could be that.
Okay, so we're just gonna board hop for 10 minutes.
This has already been proposed. Is that every year you get a base free upgrade, like in this case, Beyond.
So basically, at 120 is when we're going to look to depart. So we're going to just try and grab as many missions as we can between now and then.
Keeps that base game updating, if you see what I mean. But there are 2 or 3 big ticket items per year that you basically.
Don't think I'd finish going through that one there.
Whether or not that's atmospheric landings or whether or not it is space legs, but people who have used
so this is the thing. I mean,
they get them automatically.
I've explained this before, that some people talk about the morals of board hopping.
The one thing that does instill confidence in me.
And I always say it's kind of each to their own, really. Whether they want to board hop or not, I mean that doesn't really make a difference. Elite has said it's a viable option of trading. Frontier Development have actually said, look, it's a viable option, it's a viable way of doing it, we don't have a problem with it. We've basically put the mathematics into our programming to negate any ridiculousness. So, right, so you can see you've got one there to Namarodo, but it's one person. And to transport one person is going to take up a lot of space, so we're going to say no thank you for the time being.
Which has been known to happen.
6 refugees there, that's going to help a little bit.
Have the lifetime pass and this shit's going to get expensive for me.
19 rebels, 7.5 million, that'll do a good one.
You could probably play the game without it. If Frontier are going to keep...
Yeah, but come on, it's going to be nice to have it, isn't it? So...
I want to take that oldest guy.
That's how they've got you,
so I'm going to go into my private server now.
That's right.
Toxic, isn't it?
Yeah.
The other thing I'm looking forward to, and I
so yeah, this whole moral thing of board hopping is a really strange element, because I only bumped into it a short while ago, but
a well-implemented guild system.
As I said, I treat this like a flight, Coconut Airways. We've got 10 minutes before we're going to take people. That's pretty much faster than an EasyJet flight.
Yes, I mean I've seen.
So we've got
guild
16
systems
tourists.
basically killed other MMOs. And there's a bit of a debate on the forums at the moment whether or not you can.
Okay, we've got 3 aid workers.
I still do personally, but well, I guess it's
Fiona Long is a singular passenger, so for the time being, we're not going to accept her. We want to wait till the last ebbs before we really pick up singular passengers, even though they do pay a good.
But it's not
they do pay a good price.
View of MMOs, which is, you know, the holy trinity of tank kill DPS is not an open world per se with quests in it, and so it depends on people's definition. I think you're right. I think it is an MMO, but people who are used to MMOs would maybe disagree.
Well, having played quite a few MMOs, I consider it to be an MMO, regardless of whether or not you've got an instance of only 32 players. It's still.
Okay, we've got 7 rebels seeking transport there.
Carriers. I would like.
It's going to take us to about half occupancy, and we've used 4 minutes.
Grant, marginally multiplayer.
Got another 7 refugees there. We'll put them in there. Oh, we've got 15 refugees there. That's going to take us right up.
Yeah, I'd like carriers to be purchasable by solo players.
18 aid workers.
For several reasons. One of which is because of.
Okay, so you can see 4 minutes of board hopping, and we're starting to hit pretty much 3/4 occupancy.
Tends to be always up.
4 minutes. So, as I said, some people don't see board hopping as a moralistic, the correct moralistic choice, but I'll be honest with you,
It would have increased such that
I don't see a point when we're talking about trying to make a little bit of money so that
it's not going to go down.
You can go forward in the game. So, and what you'll get actually is you'll get, and this is a very good example, you get every now and again you're going to hit what I call a dry board. So that was what, on 15 minutes. So what we're going to do now is we're probably going to hit a dry board for the next 2 or 3 minutes. And that kind of coincides with the fact that the boards apparently refresh every 5 minutes. So
no one's going to join
that makes perfect.
So you're in a
perfect example.
I won't join a squadron until they've got a carrier, and I can't get a carrier until
you got a squadron
joins me.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the sovereignty.
Okay, so as you can probably see at the moment, my rep's cordial with most of the groups.
But as far as the smaller groups are concerned, I think it's consolidation.
So I might have a board loading problem now because this is one of the board switches. But
I mean, I'm hoping
so you can see I'm cordial with this group. They're offering one, but it's still a singular person, so I'm not going to do this.
The biggest soul mining ever.
It's griefing on a massive scale.
4 refugees, Namarodo.
Which, if you haven't got one, would be endless fun and enjoyment on the forum.
Can you imagine people turning up
to
the popcorn
private
just to see one taken down?
So if you are planning on board hopping, you go basically you go solo, open, solo, private, solo, open, solo, private. This is supposed to be the best way
what are you hoping for
of going through the boards. And I'll be honest, it does seem to pack the ship out pretty quickly.
Have we lost him?
He says he's getting a refreshing drink as opposed to a non-refreshing drink.
Or a minging drink, yeah.
On the subject of refreshing drinks, Grant, have you joined the boycott?
Of Iron Brew?
How did you know what I was on about?
So 12 tourists, Namarodo. So we're getting pretty much, we're at about 80% occupancy, and we still have 3 minutes or so to go.
Your choice.
It's a singular person.
You've got to applaud
9 refugees, Namarodo.
You know, if they manage to maintain the flavour, then well done them and brilliant. They deserve all the accolades. Doing
Bod
something
hop
for
back
our
to
health, 'cause
solo.
it is far, very much the worst drink for you out there.
I'm just hoping in 3 minutes I can get 3 more board hops because I want to get into that open and then back to the solo again.
Should we do it?
So we'll do it really quickly. Normally, if I'm not commentating, this is a much faster process.
Toxic. After we've just had an Iron Brew break, what are your hopes?
Like I said, we've got Coconut Airways. We've got a 10-minute turnaround, and then we're off again. So.
Are you sure he's back?
At 23 tourists seeking transport Namarodo.
He said he is. Yeah, look.
Yes, I am.
Okay,
here,
so
sorry.
we're really getting down to the dregs now.
All over the place. Press the wrong button and things don't happen.
I'll be really surprised if we can.
That's what she said.
If we can fill this flight. We'll go one more open, one more closed.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's all good.
So go one more open, one more closed, and then I'll give you a rough. If you don't want to keep tuned while I do the 20-minute flight, I'll give you pretty much a wind up of what we've
level up your things.
What we're going to bring in.
Can I have the beta fish, please?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna hold up the white flag and admit laziness.
I'd love just a singular passenger mission to Namarodo, but I wasn't expecting it. We might get it in the final solo board.
Your interest?
Okay,
no, really, I'm quite satisfied with how it's going at the minute.
Probably 75% against.
Grant, is there anything that you are hoping for in 2018? And I will duck and come.
No, one.
Okay,
one
we're on
thing in particular.
119.
I want to see
So this is the last flip of the
Stargates,
boards.
not
So
the ship.
let's
I
cross
wanna
fingers
see
and
a
hope that we
Stargate.
get something decent.
I think it will be epic if we have to do at
It's a bit
some
like the
point
lottery, this.
sneaking scans into Thargoid areas. Like, you know,
Okay, so
pulling
we've got
outside a
nothing by the
Thargoid
looks of it.
base in stealth
hope.
modes and taking, you know, mission critical.
Okay, so we've got
scans
nothing in the
and
last flip of the
back to
boards,
base
but that's
to
okay. So
sort
we're going to go
of
to
move. That'd be
transactions.
awesome. Although I
I'm
feel
going to
that's
give
probably not
you
this year.
a breakdown. We're on 739 and a half. So 739 and a half. So we've got 10 million.
Sexy beings, sexy Thargoids, and
49.
not so sexy Thargoids. I think we need to see them all. And it would be nice
So
to
we'll do it a
be
different way. We'll go
maybe
10,
at some point in the future
12.
having a plot line of the hunt for the queen.
16.5.
That's an interesting possibility.
17.9.
Personally, I'm really excited about co-op wing
20.
that's supposed to be
4
coming in Q1.
No, 25.
No, they haven't mentioned much about it. They
29.3.
The expo, but this is the kind of
30. We'll say 31.
For since Wings was first introduced.
33.5.
We've kind of got some of it.
34.5. 38.5.
You know, I seriously would want sort of a whole lot of guys.
40.
To all wing up together and say, I don't know, take out a base.
46, 48, give or take.
We've all got to take
49. So this run's going to give us about 49 million credits.
Or things like that. And I just.
Okay,
I know
so make sure we're refueled. Not that we need it.
But
and then we'll get the puck out of here. So,
not
1 minute overtime, but
you pick up
you know.
And you've got somebody in wing, and you just go
It's a
share
big ship, so it takes some time to get us out of here.
Even if it's that, even if they are able to scale the difficulty about.
See if we can get this thing out the mailbox.
Okay, and they're going. It says assassinate a character in Maya.
I never actually appreciated how big this ship is until I tried to get it out of the
both you and Dr. Toxic.
Out of the mailbox. It's not an easy process.
Basically, us, it'll be a I don't know, a pirate Farragut or something like that, where we have to take out its heat exchangers in order to make it go away. That kind of thing.
Now I seem to have it down a bit better. Like I didn't clip my roof that time. One thing I did do though is forgot to set my route.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You have to get paid for it.
I always forget to set my route.
Big risk, and it is, you know, you'll be risking your T10.
Yeah, I want you to pay for my help.
Okay, and we're gonna be off in no time.
You get paid with the rewards. You do want an upfront payment.
Yeah, half on top of completion.
Yeah, well.
Okay, so you can see we're off to Namarodo now. 40, was it 49 million credits on board, I think?
mean, the other thing. Go on. Go on, Sean.
Jumping back to the squadrons again, because I think you briefly touched on it. Is would you want players to be able to join multiple squadrons? Because, just for example, I was taking part in Kate Russell's.
Okay, so here we are. We're going to do a slight fuel scope here, but cosmetic reasons.
Oh yeah, well done,
We
Kate.
really don't need to scoop this.
One of the things that was great to see is that people just joined in the exploration and just kind of joined in.
There you go.
What would have been good,
And we're off now, as you can see.
they had planned, was if you could have joined a squadron.
Sevastanyov station is 480,000 light seconds. And as you can see, it says 5 days, 4 days, 3 days to get to the destination. So this is not a short trip, but for 50 million credits, it's not that long. It's gonna take about 20 minutes in total.
Personally, I think squadrons, I think, will probably be a step up from wings.
So this is the moment I always say, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat on the right hand side, and I'll try to answer any questions.
This is why I said you need a proper guild system where you have ranks. You say, okay, if you're the leader or an officer, you can take, I don't know, money out of the squadron rank. If you're a new member or a guest, you can't even look at the squadron rank. And that's what I mean by needs to be.
This is pretty much what this is. It's a 15-minute sit down. You can actually play in Borderless and go off and do something else, or at least watch a YouTube video or something like that. You know, you
I completely agree. I think this is one of the things. If they're going to put in this kind of guild content, they can't just have it as a bigger version of Wings.
There's so many things you can do when you're doing this run. It's about 15 minutes. There's a chance we'll get interdicted, but I think if I look at my missions, it's a pretty slight chance.
David Braben dropped in the
There was no warnings that I saw standing out,
that
so
has got me intrigued.
The scouts.
The scouts are the scouts.
I'll be quite surprised if we get interdicted here.
Are they part of the same Thargoid faction?
Maybe not.
But like they say, there's the two minor updates that are coming in beyond that.
We'll see here, because this might be a warning that somebody's coming after us. So
I hope they're learning from
eliminate enemies. So there's a chance just before we arrive, as if in the Sevastanyov station, that we're going to get interdicted. That normally happens about 2,000 light seconds out. Now, something I really want to mention is that at the moment, this distance looks huge, because you can see the timer's going down very slow. At the moment it says like 1 hour.
I'm pretty ambivalent about it.
You know, it feels like a long time.
I mean, I know it's got potential, but
well, actually, at the moment, it doesn't seem like an hour. It's saying 55 seconds, but that's actually the minute marker, and it does slow down. At the moment, we're not quite at maximum speed. I do have really good thrusters on this ship. I think they are 7A. So I'm going to get pretty far pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure that in... I can't be absolutely sure, but in Super Cruise I think the thrusters have an effect, because it seems like I go a little bit faster in Super Cruise in these moments.
A mechanic for delivery, which is not going to be as interesting. I mean, again,
so I can't remember the speed limit where it's saying at 50, no, 260, 270, 280. This is the speed of my ship, and at the moment it's just increasing and increasing and increasing, and I think it gets to around 500. Almost as soon as it tops out, it starts pulling back, because the physics of the game say that we're being pushed away from the origin, which is the sun, and we're being pulled towards the station. So kind of in the center of the journey, you'll hit the top point. So you'll know when you're at the center of your journey because that just starts ticking down. So at the moment it's like 380. I think it goes to 550 or something, I can't be exactly sure. But generally the mission takes around 15-20 minutes to complete, depending on your orbit, depending on interdictions and all these different things, but it takes around 20 minutes to complete.
I mean, I had my Alexa set up to go, Alexa, flash briefing, and that would then do the Galnet audio, it would then read Galnet from Alexa. So I just wonder how different is it going to be from that?
Well, it's just going to be, I suspect, if you go by the way that Frontier tend to do things, this is a distribution issue, so it's a case of it's going to read the Galnet to you when you select whatever the option is. I don't think it'll be automated. If it's automated, it'll be off even quicker than a couple of lunches. So, you know, having your voice attack implemented to trigger the key, which is, can you read me the news, today's news? Because other than that, it's going to be awkward. As to say, we don't want to hear the power play news. Do we want to, when we fly into a system, and get the in-system news, the gazettes? Because it's kind of there, but if you've been to enough stations and you've read those local briefings, there's nothing about cats being lost in the station. There's no kind of local content based on that kind of stuff. It's faction updates, it's the top criminal, and it's that kind of stuff. And you think it doesn't add life to that system.
It would be nice to see more life type things like that. Yes.
Because you know, you got to tie in. Actually, if there's an election running and there's missions to assassinate people, it'd be nice to have fiction about, you know, the policies that politician's bringing in, so that you can decide whether or not actually, no, I don't agree with that. I'm not going to take that mission.
So you can assassinate the politician yourself.
Exactly.
So
imagine how different the gameplay would be if that happened.
Are you thinking they're going to procedurally generate news articles then? Because it's an awful lot of content.
No, they won't.
Write.
They won't. But and the problem we'd have is we'd be in the same situation.
Okay, so I think I set off at 220.
No matter how diverse you make it,
I do believe 220.
And you're going to get repeating stories.
And I was explaining about the speeds. It's still going up. We're about,
it just doesn't work. You know,
I don't know how much we are off center distance. So at the moment, since I left the station, actually I think I left the station at 121 from the absolute liftoff from the landing pad, so we've been gone about 10 minutes now. And, you know, it's a 500 light second 500 light second travel now at the moment. You know, it's still a huge distance. The minute and hour clock is ticking down pretty much at a slow pace, but like I've said to you before, from the drop into the sun to arriving at the station is around 15 minutes, and the jump back is super quick. I mean, you can have it done in a few minutes. You know, it's not a big deal.
I mean,
but from cash in to cash out, it's a good run.
Anyway. Oh, no, I don't pay attention to it.
I do, and in fact, I've looked through the Galnet and I've looked through the local news and some stations, and there is a little bit of life flavour in there, not just little bits of how the factions are doing. There's a little bit about this, what's happening on the station when the station's gone into a certain mode, or you know, the system is in retreat or the system is in boom. There's little things like that. I mean, admittedly,
I loved the
spot the cat going missing. It's not missing.
Yeah, I love the election stuff as well. When it talks about the election, the local faction news is definitely good, but it's not going to vary enough station to station to be a unique thing. If you wanted to pick sort of main stations and stuff like your headquarters and have more content specifically manually inserted for them, that'd be the only way you could do it on a scale that it didn't become repetitive, and the repetition is what's going to make it just...
So you can see we're pretty much halfway now, and we're doing 950 odd
wouldn't say it's great. But it's
Seas.
a little bit if you want to read it. But the problem is,
that's climbing.
What Galnet Audio is going to do? Will it put on accents?
You've got to ask Frontier to hire a bunch of reporters.
One of the things I remember about Frontier Elite 2 and First Encounters is that if you did a mission or certain missions, it would come up with a news article reporting of your actions in game. So you'd read a news article, you thought, oh, that was me. So that sort of personalization could be done in system, and it would lend itself to making it more interesting because you're reading about stuff that you did, like
if you actually listen to this radio thing, that's very interesting. That's a good idea. If you're doing all these passenger missions and saving all these all these people, it would be nice to read about yourself in the Galnet news.
I don't know.
I'd like that, things like that to also come under the Galnet as well, because it is like something like that would be definitely an event in the system that's...
So there you go. If you look at the speed, 850, well, 850, 849, 848. We're now slowing down as we arrive to the station. It's currently put on 3 minutes till arrival, but I've always said you drop out from the sun, it's about 15 minutes, and I think we dropped out about 24. It's now 34, so my estimation is about 1:39. We will drop into the station.
I would go for the full collection of ships crashed into stations.
As to why there's no achievements on Steam yet, I'm still confused, because there are on PS4 and Xbox One, but I'm not an achievement hunter, so I don't give a damn.
Well, we'll leave it there for the moment. What we'll do is there are a call earlier today for questions, basically along this kind of line. So
I don't know if we're going to have this interdiction. Normally it comes about 2,000 light seconds from the station. Even closer actually at sometimes, which is really annoying because you can overrun the station. But it's not a game breaker, but it's annoying at times.
What was happening with Turning Lave Station? I'm afraid to say I don't know. Grant, you're the expert on the BS tube. What happened with all that? Did it all just fizzle out?
Basically, we got to an agreement on an offering by the Alliance that they would help us take over war on the station, and our wonderful acting war general, whoever basically got tired of nothing happening. So, and given the fact that not many members of the Lave crew give enough of a damn about it to come to a decision either way, we didn't bother going for any deals at all. We just thought, who cares? However, that said, and this is not a call to arms or anything, the Alliance has had a pretty major split and shake-up recently, and there is enough dissidents on many sides that would be happy to pick a side in that kind of conflict. But we haven't got any designs
just give you
for
a stick to stir things, shall I?
Yeah, I mean, there's not any designs on our half to take over Lave Station, and it's not something that we could manage in that kind of level.
My estimation was 139, but actually we might not even get in at 139. I don't think it's going to be longer.
It's not that important, so we rely
maybe
on
141.
you guys who associate yourselves with Lave Radio to make the decisions on what you'd like to see happen, and you guys can do what you like.
Maybe 141.
It's fine with whoever taking charge. We thought we'd give them a bit of support throughout, and it definitely, opened us up to some interesting discussions regarding the background simulations and stuff. No, it was awesome, and again done in a very kind of upbeat way. So I love the background simulator. It's one of the best things in this game. It's amazing. Even so much so that if you are out at Smeaton at the moment, probably due to the actions of Fozza last night, the system seems to have broken out into a war, and the number of missions available to Smeaton have dropped dramatically, so be warned.
Blame the
Did he
second
hit
tech.
Smeet and Hardness, did he?
No, it's either him or me. One of the two of us.
Well, Stu Barbs asked a couple of questions. Have the Thargoids kidnapped Fozzer? Are they programming him? And is it likely we'll find him in the middle of America with no memory of events and a sore bum? We think... well, we'll have to wait for Fozzer to get back to us on that. But I think I've just had an idea for a sketch. We haven't done a second tech sketch in quite a while, so...
It sounds like a doctor's thing, doesn't it?
It could be, but Fozzer was meant to be joining us tonight, and then this morning work changed things on him, so he is desperate to get back onto Lave Radio. He loves it dearly, and so it was almost, Fozzer was almost with us tonight, and we hope that he can definitely get back in this cockpit and keep us on the straight and narrow.
Stu Bobs also suggests, can you fire collection limpets into a burning station as some kind of fishing game?
That sounds like a...
Yeah, that sounds good.
No, I think they burn up inside the station.
I like the second part of his question.
I like the fishing idea, yes.
Which says, for that matter, can you enlighten your fighter bay with a slot and fire NPCs in there? I think that is an excellent idea.
Yes.
Using fighters to pick up
David
cargo.
Gillis.
I like that as well. Using fighters like SRVs to pick up cargo. I like the idea of that. Yeah. Park the beluga outside and then fly in and out of the dock with the fighter. Nearly said Sidewinder.
Okay, so we're on 140.
Ian Norton puts it forward. Would you like to see
5,000 light seconds. As I said, we might get interdicted. We'll have to see. My bet is that we will get interdicted because it generally happens.
I like that idea. Put my ship away for a few days and go and take some like.
We're making good time here.
In Euro Truck Sim, they're called quick jobs. They assign you a truck as well as a trailer. So.
For me, the arrival point is, it's semi-important. I always try and at least line up with the port, depending.
Yeah. So
I mean, see here we've got the inside of the crest, the outside of the crest, so it's kind of like 50-50.
So like, for example, at LaveCon, I really did enjoy like just leaving my console open and saying to other people, you know, have a play,
has to go down here
and then like going across to the
come from underneath.
Friend of mine, Connor, was there as well, and he had
so
his
Namorodo
machine set up
C
in
is
his
his
ship,
son.
and I had to play around in his, what was he flying at the time? I think it was a cutter. I must admit that was an experience. So yeah, I've done a job.
So again, just keep an eye on the light seconds, like an eye on the seconds. Now this is all automatic throttling, so it is gonna pull back. And you've got to try and kind of hit the sweet spot. So I always say 11 seconds before the underneath the light seconds. It has another clock. And I generally look at that clock for around 8 seconds, depending on how confident I feel. With this setup, I feel confident with 8. So as soon as it hits 8, I pull back on the throttle, we slow down a little bit, pretty much medium throttle, don't want to go a little too far.
We'll have to come back to, I mean the question is,
and then hopefully that's not some bad guy, not a salvage contract. I might be able to drop into here without being interdicted. And as you can see, I've pretty much dropped in on the post box.
Last night, I was thinking about.
So as long as we don't get a last second interdiction, we should be able to drop in right on the post box.
I decided to get in one of my ships, and I was going to
which is about as satisfied as you can get, and we're at 142, so it's 20. It's going to be about 22 minutes. I'm at not even 20, well, 22 minutes. Going to go full throttle. You can even boost if you want, this close to stadium. Gonna request the docking.
Oh, I know. I haven't been to X system for ages.
Pull back.
And you'll just go
Pull back
there
on the throttle.
on
Go
very
automatic
low on
docking.
this engineering material.
So we set off at 21. We're looking at 22 minutes later, and we're about to dock in the secondary station, and we've made close to 50 million credits.
Yes.
It's one of those things, though. It's like when you
I was planning on doing
And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about this credit grind. Is I've gone into it before about you may arrive here at the LTT 2, I can't remember, 2348 or something, station. You might have to do a bit of data delivery grind or something like that. Not to Namarod or to Arun normally. Do it. Get it done. Get yourself sided with them. And you'll be running these 50 million missions before you know it.
What do I fancy? Not really.
Really, you sincerely will. So I'm just gonna go up here. We're gonna knock these off because we don't need them.
I like trade running back and forth, doing nothing
Okay,
in particular. And then when there's an event like a rescue, I like to get into that.
Okay,
Event
enter hangar. Start plus services. So
when there's an event that's maybe not just in game. But other than that, when I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to play this weekend? I'll think.
Just going to run these missions off now.
Get into the action and can't really be bothered with Elite at the moment, and whether or not that's burnout or not, because I don't think you have to play a game constantly. I think it's just variation's quite nice, and there's a lot of variation in Elite.
So you'll notice you heard that max cargo hold at maximum capacity. So make sure you run these missions off here that are available.
You know, so live radio night is great. Sundays is generally when I would do things, and of course
okay, so you want to run all of these off wherever it's possible, but you must not forget that cargo hull at capacity, because you go back to your commodities market. You look for the cargo, which is here, and you sell it. Then when you go back to the passenger lounge, you're going to notice that you've still got some missions.
Always have just that kind of instant gratification.
They will suddenly appear, so we've got like
But then you look at those games,
4 missions here.
I might have played PUBG
So each one of these is going to fill up your cargo. You can sell it, or
suggest that I've gone through
you can go here to your inventory, check cargo, and you can discard them.
So that's the difference.
Discarded, they don't exist anymore, so you can go back to passenger lounge. It's better to sell them because generally those small cargo things pay for your fuel, but
which I have done.
And whatever floats your boat.
And then the likes of other games. The new one I'm currently playing is that They Are Billions, and it's great fun, and it takes you out of your head. And I think sometimes you have to tailor make your gaming as to what will best take you out of your head for the most time that you have available.
So I'm going to do a full breakdown here when I've paid all these off. We've done 2 runs. We've been doing it for about an hour and not even an hour actually, 56 minutes. I think I've been running this.
They are now paying me.
Probably say actually at the bottom of the video how long I've been doing it.
The main one was from Martin. He says,
we started with 692.
Are they not going to be time poor to join a community?
So we started at 692 million.
War effort, etc.
We've cleared everything now. Okay. So we started at 692 and we're now at 788, which is 4 million off. So we've done 96 million in the time of this video, which unfortunately I can't see the exact time of. But
so my suggestion to Martin would be check out the streams and the streamers.
But it works.
See which community you like the look of.
So
also
there you go. Sorry if it's a bit boring, but this is really late at night. I'm dead tired, just need to go to sleep. So I was just doing the mission to show that it still works after 1 week. you may need to rep up a little bit, but it's all worth it. It'll pay off. Don't worry. Just keep at it. Okay, so thanks very much. Bonne Joe. Goodbye.
Where you say, no, you've got to have a high